Hello. In this video, I'm going to go through and give a demonstration and talk a little bit about this Lexicon Primetime Model 93 digital delay unit. This is a nice, clean, nice operating unit. It was built in 1980 from the date codes that are on the memory boards. And so what I'm going to do in this video is go through, first of all, describe the general condition of the unit, what's been done to the unit to bring it up to a nice operating condition. And then I'm going to give a run through and demo to show the features of the unit. I'm not going to go into a lot of specifics regarding what a Primetime 93 does, because I think if you're watching this video, you probably know that already. And there's plenty of videos out there that show really cool things, like especially with the things that Daniel Lanois does with these units, especially with synth. Today for the demo, it's a bit hard for me to do a synth demo through the unit because all my synths are in the box and the routing and things like that are hard to do a demo on that. So instead, what I've done today is I will simply do a guitar-oriented video on that through my Diesel VH4. I've got this inserted into the effects loop on the VH4. So first of all, I worked many years ago as an engineering technician, refurbishing and repairing precision electronic gear of various types, and so I've gone through this unit and I've done a lot of things to bring it up to snuff and really nice operating condition. So first of all, cosmetically, nice clean unit. It's got a bit of rack rash on the corners, as expected on these units. Faceplate's got a little bit of a little paint rubbed off the top of the unit there. The knobs and everything have all the color parts on it. It's all in really great shape as far as that's concerned. And overall, just a nice clean unit. So let me describe also now what's been done to this unit. I've gone through it and done a lot of things on it that are kind of the typical thing with a lot of the mechanical and electronic gear of this vintage. So let me describe that. First of all, let me just point out that this is the expanded memory version on that. And for those of you that you don't need to take off the cover to really discover that on this. You just need to power it up, and if it says 256, that means it's got the expanded memory. The standard unit has 128 when you switch it to that position on that. So first of all, I went through and looked at all the power supplies, and all the power supplies have really low ripple on it, and so I really didn't have to do anything with the power supplies as far as the caps and things like that, because nice clean power supplies on all the rails, plus minus 15, the 12-volt supplies on the memory boards, and then the various other derivative voltages on that, and the plus 5 on all of the logic. So with these units, one of the key things about that is Lexicon made these easy to repair by putting IC sockets on all the ICs. That's the good thing. The bad thing is that it tends, especially over time, to not have a good reliable connection on that. So all the ICs have been removed and reinserted using K dioxide on the connectors on that to make sure that the nice good contact with all the connectors, as well as then sealing it up to prevent that from being a problem. One thing that was done with this unit is that this unit, and especially in this section here on the main motherboard, has a ton of 4558 op amps. There's a total of 14 on this entire unit. And those 4558s all had silver plating on the IC leads. And silver, as you can imagine, is one of the worst things you can have when you're using sockets. Because silver tarnishes really bad over the years. So I've gone through and replaced those, all 14 of the 4558s, and also use KEG on the sockets as well. So nice, good, solid, and so that problem won't reoccur, because the new 4558s, they're also made by TI, but they're tin plated, so that won't be a problem. Tin against tin in the sockets. The S3, which is this switch assembly here, that's a wafer switch assembly that actually has 18 sections on it. And so I've gone through and used deoxit on that, and then sealed it up with fader lube on that, so they're nice and clean and noise-free. Same thing with all of the faders in front. These Lexicon faders on these units all have a problem of getting noisy over the years, and the solution is flush them out with deoxit, and then use fader lube, which is a great thing for these faders on that to get them nice and all cleaned up. So basically, gone through and got this thing all in good operating shape on that. So now I'm going to do a quick demo of the unit, again using guitar on that to show you some of the aspects. I'll set it up for a kind of a classic guitar delay line on that. Using classic, it's going to be 500 millisecond and 375 millisecond, a three-quarters slap delay on that. This is delay multiplier on it. If I were to set it to 1x, you would get the 256, 195, but at 2x, it's 500, and then 1 second at 4x, and up to 2 seconds max on that. So I'll set it for 2x on that. A little bit about the operation for those of you that haven't used these before. These are a dual delay line, 2 independent delay lines with a maximum of up to 2 seconds, selectable by the combination of the base select on that as well as the multiplier. The VCO section I'll talk about in a little bit later on here. That's the ability of changing the clock and doing some other rudimentary chorusy type applications on that, and then I'll end up and talk about the repeat hold. Something that Daniel Lanois has made this unit famous for, so I'll show you that. Input and mixing section on that, and then an output mixing on that. On the input mix, you have 2 inputs on it. On the back, you have a main, or they just call it input on this vintage of a model on that, and an aux input. And then on the input also, you have the ability of, on the delay lines, recirculating back into that to get repeats on that, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. And then a master on that. And with these, it's real easy to set up the whole chain gain on it. Basically, you can just set up the input gain up to the limits on that on the headroom, and then just adjust the output gain on that to whatever you need. On bypass, it has pretty much unitary gain through this. So on the output mix, you have the input that you can have on the dry on that, and then additionally on the delay lines, the wet, you can do that independently. One cool thing about just playing around with these units versus newer models like the PCM 70 or 80 is that if you're going to play around with like the newer Lexicons, it's a lot harder because they've made it so the buttons are a little bit deeper on there, especially doing things on adjusting between dry and wet, whereas here it's very easy to change the balance on that and do a lot of tweaking, as I'll show you here in a second on that. Another feature that this has that I haven't really messed around with much, but I know some people have done some things, that you have the ability to invert the phase. And so, you know, technically, if you do the exact same delay on it and you have the A and the B reverse on that, they'll actually null out each other, and you can get some actually some cool effects by changing the phase on that and doing some things with VCO. I'm not going to get into that depth on that with this on that, but I just wanted to point that out, that it does have that feature on that that's a little bit unique to these units. So I'll go ahead and give a little demo on the unit itself. So I've got it set up for right now, just basically if I have the dry, I can bring in the first delay line, the A on that, and right now it's a 500 millisecond, and you can quickly adjust that on that. You can even make it just totally wet, so that it's just that, or the mix between the two. So, and then the second line is set for 375. I'm much quicker on that. You can put them in together, get a little bit of chain on that, And additionally, what's kind of cool that you can quickly do with these units is that you can do basically a series, because right now this is parallel. You can do a series by, for example, if I just have the A channel with just one repeat, then what I can do is I can bring in the recirculation on the 375 on that to get more of a chain on that. Or you can mix them both in. Get a long mix on that. So you have a lot of flexibility with these units as far as the amount of... I'll go ahead and set it up for... So that's just the basics on that. So what I'll do is I'll do a quick run through now of the VCO feature that a lot of people like to play with these units. So if I have just a basic setup like this as far as the delay. So now it's captured the little trill that I was doing there. So the first thing you can do is you can change the delay multiplier, which basically takes it in half, both the pitch and the timing on that. But if you leave it on that, so the VCO, you first have the ability to change the clock on that, and also this is a sweep on that. So you have a sweep amount and you have a sweep depth control as well as on that. And you can hear the sweep. So, and additionally, what also it can be used, and what originally they intended with these units is that you just actually use the VCO along with your delay, and you get a little bit of a shimmery sound. So you have that ability to do that as well. It's kind of the early digital implementations of chorus and some other functions like that. So that's about it. I think I've covered pretty much most of what this unit will do. Thanks for watching.